This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
The TalkSport Fan Network is proudly supported by McDelivery, bringing you the food you love. McDelivery brings a top-tier lineup of food right to your door. No matter the result, you'll always be winning with McDelivery. Order now on the McDonald's app and you'll get rewards points delivered too. So that ordering today means some tasty rewards for tomorrow. Only via app at participating restaurants. 18 plus. Rewards registration required. Points only on menu items. Delivery fee and terms apply. See mcdonalds.com.
And welcome to Monday night's Tilton Talk Show. All the way through this horrible crisis that we're going through at the moment, we're going to be with you every single Monday night at 7:30 till 8:30, just a shorter show as normal. Thank you ever so much to Boyle Sports, our principal sponsors, and at SAS Autos, and of course our friends at Boyle Label. It's live every single Monday, Facebook, Twitter, and you can also get it on YouTube as well. And nice to have with us tonight, Paul Hipkiss.
Good evening, all.
Mrs. Brown.
Good evening.
Good evening from myself. And, of course, the legend that is the one and only Michael Johnson.
Evening all. How are we?
That's it for tonight, ladies and gents.
Good night.
Oh, dear. What kind of a week you had, Johnny?
Been a good weekend, actually. I had a barbecue in minus conditions yesterday. But no, it's been a fantastic weekend. Obviously, again, as you said, difficult times, but trying to get some positivity out of it. But it's been great.
That's why we keep on doing this on a Monday. We thought about, should we just stop and wait until the season starts again or what? But now we've got to keep in touch with the people. It's them that matter, to be perfectly honest with you.
No, it's great what you do. It really is, because it's really informative, but it's great for the fans still to be connected to the club.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure the club will be doing certain things, but can't be as good as the show, surely.
No.
Unique, mate, unique. Right, time the show, ladies and gents, girls and boys, if you thought some players could be with one of our fellow Blue Noses, Tony Steele. Tony Steele, a.k.a. Spook. He's in hospital really, really poorly at the moment. So if there's anything you can do, think or say, then please do so, because he's one of our own. Keep right on, Spook. Come on, pull through, mate, pull through. Now, this was a bit of a long shot a couple of weeks ago. However, I cannot, and I've searched everywhere for whoever sent me this message, but I'm going to read it out in the hope that somebody knows these two people, and also the fact that the person that sent it me, because I know that they were watching the show, is watching tonight, or will catch up with it on one of the forums a little bit later. This is a bit of a long shot.
Go on, then.
Two friends sit on Tilton Talk, Block 1, Road 22, named Karen and Martin. They have a great time chatting, but they unfortunately didn't exchange numbers or Facebook identities and one thing and another. They live in the Kitts Green area. Martin works Snatch Pack. So if anybody does know them, please ask them to get in touch with the show. And whoever sent me that message, I'm awfully sorry that I didn't write your name down. And I have searched it in all of my messages and texts and one thing and another, but I can't find it anywhere. So give me another nod tonight, if you would.
Okay, your audio went a bit funny there, Nick, but I think we got the gist of it.
Okie dokie, mate. Well, it's Karen and Martin, Block 1, Road 22, Tilton Road. Martin worked at Snatch Pack, and they both live in the Kitts Green area. If anybody knows of them, please get them to get in touch with the show, and I'm sure that person will get in touch with me, and we'll get them reunited. Get them reunited. Why not? Why not? Great little things that we can do, isn't it? It's nice. It's not well played. Right, Jono, first question. My sister Pat. She drools over you, mate, honestly.
What a sensible lady, by the way. Hey.
No, I don't know whether you remember this. I spoke to you in the pub after the Worthington Cup final and gave you my phone, and I took your photo, still got the photograph of talking to my sister on the phone, and she was like, "No, this can't be Michael Johnson." And it was definitely 100%.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to ask which pub that was in, because there was a pub
No, it was the
crawl-
back of the cop.
the back of the cop.
When you all came and congregated in the cop
Ah, I remember now.
after the World Cup final on the Monday morning, and just kind of said hello and that to everybody. And one thing, and I drove over, and you spoke to her there.
I never met her though, have I?
Yeah, boy. I tell you what, would you want to?
Yes, of course.
There we
I'd
go.
like to
I'll
come
get
and
it
say hello
sorted.
to her.
I'll get it sorted. Her name's
Get it
Pat.
sorted.
Her name's
Well,
Pat.
Pat,
Just
if
you
you're
send her a
watching-
message, a personal message from Michael Johnson. Here we go.
Pat, if you are watching, just massive thanks for support all over those years. It was great times at Birmingham. So I really, really do value your support, and keep safe. And hopefully we'll see you once this lockdown is over. God
I'll
bless
get that arranged. I promise you.
you. For sure.
Paul Devries just said, I bet Jono was... Sorry, I bet Jono wasn't buying.
Hey, he's probably right. Hey, if there's a man tired in there, I'm yet to meet him. So that's why he's saying it, because he never buys. Telling you. You ever been out with Dev for a drink?
Yeah.
Did he buy you a drink? Be honest.
I can't remember, to be honest.
There you go.
Yeah. He did, to be fair. He did.
It must have been Christmas. Great lad, though. Great guy.
Yeah.
He is, yeah. Deb's a friend of the show, been on a few times, and always says hello when I see him in blues as well. So it's a nice chap, yeah.
No, we've known each other. We
Did
go back.
workouts with him, haven't you?
Yeah, we go back early 90s, and we both stopped Notts County underneath a young Neil Warnock. So there's so much years of friendship and of laughter, and obviously good and bad results. And we're still close friends right now. We know each other's family really well, and we still speak really often. So really, really good lad. One of my best friends.
Nice
I love
one.
your video, Jono. Jono, before the playoff final in Cardiff against Norwich, they've recently put it on YouTube, the club. It's your home video that you filmed. Do you remember?
No, I've got a problem with that.
Go on.
I'm going to be honest with you. So that's my video, right, which I filmed.
Yeah.
Yet the club are parading it. What's going on here? Back in those days, there was no, what's the rights called? There's
No copyright.
Copyright.
Yeah. Copyright or whatever it is. But now it's great that the fans are getting an insight into it, because it was a fantastic time that will not only live with the players but also the fans, and that's a great behind the scenes and looking at people's character like Benno, who's still is an hilarious man.
Well, that was actually one of our fans' questions. Guy Robinson was asking, what was Ian Bennett really like?
First of all, as a player, he was a fantastic goalkeeper. Wasn't the biggest, but great shots. But when you're talking about characters in your team, and you need somebody who, through difficult times, can get the change rooms going, that can break the ice, that can get laughter, Benno was second to none. His wittiness and his sharp jokes were just fantastic. That coupled with his accent as well, because he came from a place called Wassop, as we would call it Worksop, but he's pronounced it Wassop. And he was from that. He was from that Kes part of the world. You know the film Kes?
Yeah.
So that was his favourite film. So he was a brilliant lad.
Brilliant. And Adam Wilkes is asking, do you still own the hat that you celebrated in after the actual final whistle?
Yes, and I'm going to do something special at the end of the show, so please do remind me with that hat. But yes, I still own that hat. It's great, because even when I go back to Birmingham now, when I go back, even if I'm walking across City Centre or I'm back at the club, some of the youngsters will refer to their parents or grandparents if they're Birmingham City supporters. Wow, that's the man with that hat, Dad.
Yeah.
They don't even remember me as the player, but a lot of them to do with the hats.
Yeah.
Iconic photograph, though, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's a totally iconic photograph.
Yeah, it's an iconic moment. I think the one that I'm making a fool of myself dancing around on the Millenniums.
It always sticks in my mind as well, John, how close you came to getting us promoted and not even having to go to penalties when you hit the post.
Yeah, I watched it again this week. My 15-year-old has never watched, couldn't remember it, so we watched it. And actually, that moment there still made my heart, I still grabbed my heart as to say, it's in.
Yeah.
And then obviously it hits the post, and an inch that side, it would have gone in off the post. But,
Yeah.
The main thing was we got over the line.
Yeah. It was.
We certainly did.
It was a painful experience from the stands. I've got to say, obviously, the nerves. It was probably my most nerve-wracking 120 minutes of my life.
Oh, it was, as a player, it was nice to play in, but it was one of those games that every time they came near your box, your heart shuddered because you just knew it was the hopes and dreams of the club. It was the first time for so many years that the club had an opportunity to go back into top flight.
Yeah.
And we all knew the importance of what it meant financially to the club, what it meant to the fans, and also what it meant for us as players. And you got to remember, you guys remember, the amount of times we failed underneath.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I remember Preston, I remember Watford, I remember Barnsley. Remember the game of Barnsley where we were 3-0 down at half time?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
He will.
So you just kind of think it's never going to happen. So for us to get over the line was an amazing thing.
Yeah. And, in the end, persistence paid off, didn't it? Every year we were there or thereabouts. And in the end, we got over the line, as you say, and deservedly so.
But you know what? Sometimes it goes, we don't realise how good that team under Trevor was to constantly do that.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
No.
You go to any team now, and to be consistently in the playoffs is some achievement. We just didn't have that little bit of luck, maybe what's needed to get over the line. I look back on that team now and I think, wow, to do that consistently. I think it was out of 4 or 5 seasons, we were in the playoffs 4 times. Yeah,
that's right. And I think you might not know, and anyone else that played that day, and our viewers as well, and all our fans, I was in Ipswich with work a few months ago, and I bumped into Dan Needy, former Norwich player. He told me that when you and Robert scored, he ran off thinking that was it. He thought it was a golden goal. And if you watch it back, you'll see that Nigel Worthington is telling his players to actually get back in their own half and focus on
kidding.
Because all the celebrations were as though they'd won it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember them celebrating like, I didn't know at the time, actually. It's weird you say that. Because I remember them celebrating like, that's it.
Yeah.
And of course, it wasn't it. There was more time. And we did get the equaliser. We did go on to win. But I just remember in that extra time, with the kind of characters we had, there was only going to be one winner in it.
Absolutely.
We had the experience, but we also had that determination that we are now here, given the times that we failed. We can't go back to Birmingham again empty-handed.
No. Yeah.
Taking you back, Jono, to the Worthington Cup final, what was that wall of noise like when you came out?
Oh, my God.
I mean, I've watched it over and over and over on YouTube, and I can't ever remember hearing a noise like that, apart from perhaps that iconic Ipswich game that we had at St Andrews. But the 2 anthems, though, Keep Right On to the End of the Road and You'll Never Walk Alone.
Oh, goosebumps.
We won, by the way. Won that one.
That for me was probably one of the games that I'll always cherish. I look back at that Worthington Cup final, and as you said, just remember the noise. I remember walking out to a full capacity stadium. This game's being beamed around the world, and I've got family around the world who were watching it. And to just stand there and listen to both, obviously, the big songs for both clubs, Keep Right On, and
Goosebumps
then You'll
alert.
Never Walk Alone. Even now, it still resonates with you that it was an amazing achievement for us, a championship club, to get to the Worthington Cup final. And guess what? We should have won it.
Yeah.
Good one.
Robbed.
Yeah, I thought you got it for us.
I remember most of it. It was when I bought my ticket and my ticket arrived. I just had it on the desk in front of me, and I just kept staring at it. You know what I mean? For ages and ages. Well, not ages. It was days. It was there every single day. And I just kept picking it up.
It was great.
I really got one.
The whole build-up, and to see the excitement of the city, and to see the Blues fans making their way to the stadium, it was fantastic. We just came up short with penalties. God bless AJ, and I still see the shot now of AJ and Trevor Francis hooking on the halfway line.
Yeah, it was unfortunate.
You can't blame him for it.
Sorry?
You can't blame him for it, though.
No, I mean, for someone so young to step up and take the penalty, he's credit to him. It's one of those things, isn't it? You just realise it's the flick of the coin.
Yeah.
I've had penalties down the lines, as we all know, with the Watford scenario, and then the Preston one as well. And then that one, it was just kind of like, I don't want to see any more penalties to decide games because I've never really done well with them.
No. No. A few other questions from our viewers, Jono. Big Sing's asking, who was the quickest player at Blues during your time there?
I think there was only one I remember was Louis Donowa.
Yeah, how fast was it?
Louis was rapid.
It was unbelievable, wasn't it?
It was unbelievable. I always remember because when I came, I remember Gary Paul saying, Louis, you ain't the quickest anymore. And Louis said, I'll have a race with him. Now, I was quick.
Yeah,
and
I know.
The one person that probably would give me a run for my money at Blues was Louis Donowa. So I have to say probably Louis Donowa at the time. And AJ wasn't slow, by the way.
Yeah. So did you have a race with Louis Donowa?
Yeah.
Who won then?
I can't even believe you're asking me. Come on, then. Who won? Come on.
Come on, one for the record. One for the record.
Watching this, by the way. No,
Who won?
I won.
Fair play.
Fix.
Hey, when you get Louis on, Louis will probably say he won.
Yeah. No, Devlin will say that he won.
Oh, hey, Dev doesn't even get a place on the track.
Nah.
He fell out at the quarterfinal stage.
Stephen
Dev, by the way.
Sorry, Jono. Stephen Gill's asking, what was John McCarthy like and how did he cope with the leg breaks? Because obviously he had a fortunate run, didn't he, with that?
Yeah.
John was a great guy as well. He had such a dry sense of humour. And he was very similar. I mean, we had... I failed to look at my career and think about two better crossers of the ball than John McCarthy and Stan Lazaridis. John McCarthy, I mean, that was one of the reasons why we did so well, because we had ammunition both sides.
Yeah.
And John McCarthy, he could cross the ball from anywhere. I always remember when I used to play against Port Vale, and John McCarthy always used to give the team that I played for problems because his delivery. So to have John McCarthy and Stan Lazaridis was a nightmare for opponents, but great for us because you just didn't know where we're coming from. But unfortunately, he suffered a couple of leg breaks and he was never quite the same.
No, that's right.
He lost the yard of pace. And then he lost the yard of courage of going into challenges because he always worried about his leg. But what a great guy, by the way.
Yeah. Benjamin Jackson has been such a great servant to the club. I've already mentioned it, but he's also gone on to ask, does a part of you wish your header against Norwich in extra time had gone in and been the winning goal?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know really. I've never really thought about it till we brought it up. Obviously, you'd always want to score.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think the plaudits were great for Darren Carter because I think it's really helped his career. And for a young lad, I think was he 16 years. Was he 17 years old at the time?
Yeah. 18, I think he was.
Sorry?
18.
Yeah, he was 18.
Years old to go back to Birmingham City fan, go back to your family, go on, fill your boots, Daz. So I'm really pleased that Darren Carter got it because it really cemented him, and he's a proper blue nose, by the way.
Yeah. Two keepers.
He came in a few years ago. I did get to manage to touch his foot as well.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. He had a great player. Still playing now, by the way.
Yeah. Daniel Moores, yeah. And a certain Panos Pavlakis, Jono, is asking, did he manage to find his mobile device at the end after the Cadiz goal at Bolton and all the craziness that was going on? He said, please send my greetings to Jono, great guy who always gave me very good advices for the best interest of the club.
Oh, thanks for that. It was... That's really kind of him to say that. Panos was a really good guy. He came over and amongst difficult times. We all know it was difficult times. And I held an ambassadorial role at the time.
Yeah.
So we always talk probably late into nights about football players. And we tried to navigate what was a really difficult time. But the incident, what he spoke about, obviously when the Cadiz goal went in, obviously that it doesn't even need, hyping up. To say, obviously, the importance of that goal and to be at Bolton on the day. And we all thought, do you know what? That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. We're looking and, honestly, I think if Blues would have got relegated, I'm not so sure we'd be sitting there as a championship club.
No, not at all. No,
So
My dad, my
Sorry?
Christmas on that day was, I said to all my kids, I said, don't disturb me. I didn't get a ticket for the game, so I didn't go. Don't disturb me, don't talk to me. My phone's off, the TVs were off, the radios were off, everything was off, and I would not listen to that game because I was so scared of Bolton beating us or us not making. And then I turned my phone on, and my son literally rang me. Luke, he lives down in Dorset, and he rang me. He says, "Have you heard the score, Dad?" And I said, "No." He said, 1-1. No, was it 1-1? Yeah.
2-0. It was 2-0. And it was 2-1.
Yeah. And then he went through that last-minute scenario, and I was like, "Do you know what I did?"
Go on.
Cried like a baby. Cried like a baby. I did, mate. Too right.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It literally was. And so up in the executive box where I was with Panos and obviously the Wisemans, and it just cut loose, because obviously that was it. That was a defining moment. And it was great to obviously see the club secure, first of all, their status as a championship club. And it was great for the fans because there was a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry during that season. And I have to say, in amongst it, Panos did a good job. Because it was very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Can I just come in on this one as a message here from somebody called Jerry Gill? He says,
Gilly.
yes,
Jerry.
Johnski in the house. He
JG
says,
in the house.
evening chaps, now that's a blues legend and top bloke right there. I'll see you've paid this one off, Jono. Great to listen in. Loved working alongside this man day in, day out. I hope he's in your top 11. Oh, my God. Oh, dear,
Gilly
oh, dear.
He was legendary, by the way. And I tell you why. Gilly came from a humble background, and he really worked hard. And he worked hard to sustain, first of all, the opportunity that Birmingham gave him. And then he came in, something happened, I think it was to Nicky Eden. And Gilly then all of a sudden just grew into his own confidence and started to play a brand of football that Nicky was really struggling to get back in. Such was the form of Gilly. So Gilly worked hard. He never had anything easy. He worked the hard way to get what he got. And there was a real moment that I really feel sorry for Gilly. And it could have happened to any of us. I always remember the final. And unfortunately, he was omitted from the squad. And Nicky came back in to play the game. But Gilly, and he's got a great managerial career at the minute as well. Gilly's doing really, really well in managing, I think it's Gloucestershire, he's at.
Bath, isn't it? Yeah.
Bath is that. So he's doing really well, but a top professional and a really good guy. Worked really hard.
Yeah.
He was in with us a couple of weeks ago, and once all this COVID-19 thing is over, we're going to get a bus full of Birmingham City supporters and go down and see him at Bath for a game.
Yeah.
He's going to put
really good idea there.
Yeah. Jason Hughes wants to know what moisturiser does Jono use? It looks exactly the same as he did 20 years ago.
Woo! Look at that.
That was from Jason Hughes. That's another one you're going to pay off.
Tell him I drink loads of water. I drink loads and loads of water. Still use a bit of cocoa butter now, and it's blessing. It's the blessings from God as well. What's raining down on me, so I'm all good.
Yeah, good mate. Good
More
stuff.
questions?
Whereas Chris Brown uses Nivea, and you can tell.
I know, yes, I know. Ray says they should show a rerun of the night at Spurs in the Worthington Cup. What a night that was.
Wow.
What a night that was, by the way. Dealey Adebola, oh my word. I remember Dealey. I was going to say something about, I better rephrase that. I remember Dealey giving a young Sol Campbell kittens.
Yeah.
He absolutely took him to the cleaners. 2 powerhouses, White Hart Lane. We were not fancy to go there and do anything. But I remember Dealey literally destroying, and I don't think I've ever seen Dealey have a better game than that game against Spurs.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. He turned him easily. He ran him down the sides. He took him on 1v1. He beat him. He just beat him up.
Yeah. And that second goal he got, that one from distance.
Do you remember it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great strike, a great night. And I don't think it was just Dealey. I remember, was it Birch played as well? Mark Birchall.
Mark Birchall, yeah.
He'll know.
Yeah, he was another thorn in the backsides. And obviously we did well again, because I'm sure it was Les Ferdinand played up top as well.
Yeah.
So it was a tough fixture,
Yeah.
but we did really well, and that was obviously on the way to the final, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. The season we got to the final, yeah. And who's your toughest ever opponent, John? Who's the hardest player you've ever played against?
Do you know what? I'm going to give props to another former Blues player here. It depends. There's tough as in, like, you mean aggressive?
Or I'll say best then. Best ever opponent.
Okay. The best ever opponent, without a shadow of doubt, was Thierry Henry. Do you remember the game we got beat 4-0 at St Andrews?
I do, yeah.
It was, I think his name, was it Ferdinand Coley, the right back?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's Coley, yeah.
Please, no. he got subbed at half time.
Yeah.
Remember it?
I do.
God bless him. He came and it was his debut, and it was against the Invincibles that year.
Yeah.
And honestly, it could have been 5 or 6. They were absolutely amazing, and Thierry Henry was unplayable. I'll never forget it.
No, I remember it well. I think we had a power cut and the floodlights went out, and I didn't want them to come back on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Hey, I didn't want to come back on.
You beat me to the punchline.
Yeah.
It was a day where we didn't know whether to stick or twist.
No,
they were that good.
Yeah, but do you know what though? After that game, that team then probably learnt a lot, and that's why we went on to do so well as we did. After
we kicked on. We had some good results towards the end of the year.
Yeah,
and obviously that was the main reason we managed to stay up. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, and David Jones is asking, did you ever have another mad scoring spree? Do you remember your mad scoring spree at Blues in the sort of late 90s? Do
you know what that was, right? Because everybody always said to me, like, you know, why didn't you go? Why didn't you? I was never allowed to before, because I was, as you said, you know, I was quite quick.
Yeah.
So when we had set plays, all my managers would always say, Jono, you stay at the back. You be the one to make sure if they have a quick break, they've got to get past you. Yeah. And it just so happened that this particular game, I think it was Sheffield United, it was going into the latter part of the game, and Trevor went, just go. And I went up, and lo and behold, there it goes in the back of the net. And as you said, it just started off a scoring spree for me.
Yeah. You get a late winner against the Baggies as well. And I remember
a late winner against Baggies, which was great. There was one against Crewe. And there's one that I've always tried to find, and I don't know if anybody's listening can find it. On the way to the Worthington Cup game, we played Southend away. Do you remember it?
Right, okay.
And
in the league?
Sorry?
In the league?
No, Worthington Cup.
In the Worthington... sorry, right, on the Cup run, you mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And I scored a goal, and I've always tried to trace that actual footage. So if anybody's got it, send it into the Tilton Talk Show so they'll be able to send it on to me.
That'd be good.
There you go, people. Don't be too surprised if it doesn't appear shortly.
Hey, I've searched high and low to find it. So if somebody's got that, well played.
Oh, somebody will have it.
And who was your football idol growing up, Jono?
Oh, well, I was a secret Liverpool fan.
Okay.
So I had the likes of Kenny Dalglish, John Barnes, Alan Hansen. You might as well say I was a glory hunter at the time.
Yeah.
I'm not born and bred, so I used to go and watch the Nottingham Forest games.
Yeah.
But without a shadow of a doubt, that team there in the late 70s, early 80s, they dominated everything. So I've always stuck to Liverpool.
Yeah. Fair play.
Where did you grow up, Jono?
Nottingham. So I'm Nottingham born and bred. So not too far from Birmingham. So I never moved to Birmingham. I just travelled down the M42 with myself and Ian Bennett. We travelled down for 9 years. Andy Legg joined us as well, Horse. So we used to do that run. We used to meet at the Hilton National on Junction 25. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Junction 24.
Bit posh for us.
Hey, we didn't go in there. Just parked the cars in the car park. So, yeah.
Oh dear!
Can I just say, Jerry Gill wants you to do your John Barnes impression.
I used to have this. I can't do it, but I used to have this strut, and I used to have my shoulders pumped up, and I used to walk like Johnny Barnes. He knows. I used to do struck like John Barnes, and I used to have the Des Walker run down to the tee. I can't do it on air because obviously you can't see the full image.
Yeah.
Yes, I know exactly what he's talking about.
Poor excuse, but there we go.
Is that the robot? Is that a bit like the robot you did as well, Jono, when the fans were singing your name at the Blues?
Yeah, By the way, it was. I remember it well. I had a good affinity with the fans. I think, and I say this to a lot of the young. When I was down there at Blues, I was working in the academy when I finished.
Yeah.
The part of my role as ambassador was actually, dovetailing that with working into the academy. So the times that you had Nathan Redmond coming through and a young Damari Grace, a lot of the young players, coming through, and even Jude at the time was a youngster. But I always used to say to the young players about the fans that if you really put in a shift and you really work hard, they'll forgive you. They'll forgive you for the ball going underneath your foot.
True.
Yeah.
They'll forgive you for the off day that you might have. But one thing they will never forgive is a lack of work ethic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you give that, because that's what I gave, then you can predominantly have a really good relationship with the fans. And that's why I think, even to this day, it's really humbling when I go back to Birmingham City because they've just seen them.
Yeah.
They've just seen what you wanted, which was an honest team who actually run through brick walls and try to do the best that they could give.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think going back to your question, that's why fans, when you go on the pitch and they chanted your name because they knew what they were going to get.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Fan favourite. The whole team, wasn't it? The majority of the time you was there, the whole team was just every single player, was just giving everything they got. I
think we was having a chat, wasn't we, just before we came on here, and we spoke about, what was it while we were on here, that the teams that got to the playoffs were so good to constantly get to the playoffs. Yeah. But the reason we got to the playoffs so consistently wasn't because we had, the big names. It was because the character of that team. My word, if I was to go through that character, I'm talking a team full of men, proper. You go into war, you go into battle with. You just knew what you were going to get. Yeah. Anybody who came to St Andrews at that period in time knew that if you were going to beat us, you're going to come out. You're going to leave with a few scratches and bruises. Yeah, you're not just going to come inside St Andrews, take 3 points, and walk out and be whistling away on the coach back home. You're going to have a bus slipper or a bus walking out. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what that team gave. Yeah, brilliant. That's right. Yeah.
Michael, you played under three different managers: Barry Fry, Steve Bruce, and of course Trevor Francis. What was the Barry Fry era like? Because for us as fans, it was just brilliant.
Dear Baz,
great subject.
Barry,
you know what? We could lose a game and still go home smiling back there.
Barry was just a character. He was just, you know what? He was so authentic. I loved him because he was just him. He used to say off the cut comments. I remember when I signed for Blues, we had nearly 52 players. There was 4 teams. And even in the 4th team, you had subs that weren't even getting involved in any of the 4 teams. That's how many players we had. And he was great character. I always remember there was one game with Tatey where Tatey, he thought Tatey jumped out of a tackle and he didn't. And he runs down the sideline, and bearing in mind the game's going on, and he's mimicking a chicken all the way down the side with his arms and saying to Tatey, look at you. And he's making chicken noises while the game's going on. And he's running from the halfway line to the corner flag. I always remember the goals when we scored the goals. Right. And he'd be doing his aeroplane run. Yeah. And he was just a really top man who had, he really wanted the club to do well. And, I still speak with him now. I've got a lot of time for him. Yeah. And then we go, obviously, to Trevor, who's a club legend. Complete different side of the spectrum to Barry.
Couldn't get chalk and cheese any different, could you?
Chalk and cheese, well-dressed, well-mannered, humble background. One of the greats of the club, first £1 million player. And obviously, the pressure was him to deliver not only as a player, which he did for Birmingham, but could he do it as a manager? And we all wanted it for him so badly. And obviously, we just couldn't get over the line. And then you go to Steve Bruce, who's, Manchester United legend. played in all the, the biggest games on, European Cup finals, numerous championships. And somehow he managed to get the players over the line, really motivated, good man manager. Steve had a way of treating us the way that we wanted to be treated. There was no hidden agendas. He was just what it says. What he says is on the tin. It was just, this is the way I want it. Go and get it done. And if you do it by me, we'll be fine.
Well, he learned his trade off Alex Ferguson, of course, didn't he?
And that's what he brought. He brought a lot of Alex Ferguson's traits to us. A lot of style of play of Alex Ferguson. A lot of his way he wanted to run things, the culture of Alex Ferguson. He brought it to the club, and it was no surprise. And it's not a detriment to Trevor, but it was no surprise with the group of players that Trevor had, that Steve managed to really galvanise that group and get the best out of them. And then obviously subsequently we managed to get up against Norwich.
And when you're on that field, John, how much of an impact do the fans have on you? Obviously when you're on that field.
It's huge, I think, particularly in the dying stage of the game, when you're on your knees and you're looking for that extra pull. And the fans play the part because they pull you over that line. It's like you're going on a run, or you're on a run and you come around that 200-meter bend, and your coach is there saying, "Come on, you've got it in you." That last wait when you've done 9, and that 10th one, you think, "Oh, I ain't got it," and then all of a sudden, somebody's there going, "Yes, you've got it. I'm with you," and they're just touching that, the weights as you're pushing up. And that's what fans give, particularly St Andrews, where it's such a hostile environment that once the fans are with you, it's for any team going there, and I've been there on the opposing team, it's not a nice place to go to if you've not got a strong heart.
Sir Alex Ferguson himself written in his book, it was the place that he dreaded to go to most. Out of all the places he'd been to, Galatasaray, you name it, he did not like to come to St Andrews.
Oh, I've seen it in numerous players in the tunnel area where all of a sudden that chirpy players became unchirpy when they was in that tunnel area. They could feel the nerves, the unsettledness, and all it takes is, the first touch of the ball, it goes off the foot, it goes out of play or under the foot, and they just can't get it back because they're nervous about the environment, the surroundings. So the more hostile a ground is, the better. And there was no other, and I think you mentioned it, Chris, there was no other better environment than the Ipswich game for St Andrews. The fans won the game.
That was some night.
Oh, it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. I think I was there for that. Yeah, I played that night, and I think I was there for the West Ham game as well.
Okay, in the League Cup.
That was a good atmosphere.
Great atmospheres.
Oh, if it could be like that every week.
I know. We want that back. Right? We want that back.
Yeah.
That's exactly. You get that back, the world's your oyster.
Yeah.
It was even worse than that in the 70s. Believe me.
Really?
Oh God, yeah.
I don't remember.
And John, who's the best player you've ever played with in your career?
Yeah. It's great because I always say Christophe Dugarry.
Yeah.
And it was split because my mate Dev's always got this thing about Christophe. It makes me laugh. So Christophe came, and obviously great player, French World Cup winner. He's not going to be the most aggressive of players or wants to run and give you but what he is you give him the ball, the man's got ability without a shadow of doubt.
Yeah.
So he comes to our team, and there's this one particular game, Steve Bruce, I think it might have been Blackburn away. So Deb tells the story brilliantly. He said, we're Blackburn away, we're up against the Kosh, and 60 minutes in, can't see Christophe Dugarry. Anyway, ball goes down the line. Poor Jeff Horsfield, he's running left, he's running right. Anyway, about 59 minutes in, Jeff goes to trap a ball, and it goes underneath his foot. And Steve Bruce jumps out of his technical area. Come on, that's what I'm saying about him. Look at him. Couldn't drop a bag of cement. Come on, get hold of it. Anyway, Christophe Dugarry, the first time we see him in the 64th, 65th minute, pulls down the ball, has a shot, goal. Steve Bruce turns around and goes, bearing in mind, Jeff has done all the spade work, took all the battering. Dugarry, first time we see him, goal. Steve Bruce turns around to the boys on the dugout and goes, the man's a genius. So no reference to Jeff and all the battering that Jeff Horswood's taken. He's taken all the hits, ran down the tunnel, wore the centre-backs out. Christoph, 64th minute, one touch, back of the net. Boys are genius.
They actually struck up a good partnership, didn't they, for a while?
Yeah, they were, because Jeff done all his running, that's why.
Yeah.
No, but he was that. I mean, we had instructions to get the ball to Christoph. In fact, and this is so true, we actually worked how to play with 10. Because we knew that Christoph, he ain't going to track back. He's going to walk back in. So we need to now defend with 10 to get the best out of Christoph. If we had any hope of staying up, we needed to keep Christoph inside. But here's the thing here. Such was the character of that team that we put up with it. Because many teams wouldn't put up with it.
Yeah.
But we had a real empathy, a real teamwork that we said, okay, as long as he delivers, which he did, then we'll work hard with 10 behind the ball.
Yeah.
Must have been interesting in the dressing room with him, though. A World Cup winner at St Andrews. Incredible, isn't it?
Oh, unbelievable. You should have seen the way the man walked in. I mean, you remember he had the flowing locks.
Yeah.
He had the shirt open. He had the casual, shoes on, like holiday shoes. He had the car. He used to go out with a glass of wine. He had it all. The looks. And then he had the World Cup to it. It's unbelievable. Here's another funny story. I've got a few. So the first day signs, Steve Bruce used to always do these free boxes. And I bet Gilly will remember as well. He always used to do these boxes where he had Premier League box. So you had to play in the Premier League to win it. Championship box before you came to Birmingham City. And if you've not played in the Championship before you came to Birmingham City, it would say a League One box. So anyway, Christoph signs. So he says to Christoph, come and join me, Christoph. We're in the Premier League box. So Christoph, with his flowing locks, puts his hand out and goes, Gaffer, you mean to tell me there's no World Cup winners box? What did he say to that? All the lads just had to give him a round of applause because we're not all won the World Cup. But it was Christoph was brilliant.
Yeah, some great time. Great time.
Great times down the Blues from, you signed in 1995, if I'm right.
Yeah, that's right.
And then, when did you go, John? In about 2003?
2004. It broke my heart, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'd been there the best part of 9 years.
Yeah.
I was just about to go into testimonial conversations with the club. And we just stayed up that year.
Yeah.
And we're moving into now the second year of staying up. And Steve, and quite rightly, Steve said to me, I've brought in Matty Upson as a left side, the back. I've got Kenny Cunningham at the time, Olivier Tebley. So I've got cover in that area. So, the club wants to really speak to you about parting terms with you. And it was a really difficult conversation to have because you work that hard to get into the Premier League, particularly with a club that you're very fond of. And then when you get there and you cement your place, then it's time to leave. You know what? Steve's been good as gold, though, because I know that since that, I've had a conversation and players have with him. And he's always said there's one regret he's always had. And that was that he said that he split that team up, got promoted too soon.
Too soon, yeah. Yeah, I've heard him say that.
Because he wanted to get the more, what he thought, players who could go that next level. But then you missed that work, honesty, effort that we had.
Yeah.
And so he always said that the one regret he had about his time is that he split up the team that got promoted too soon.
Yeah. We better get onto your team, mate. It's 8:15 already.
Come on, then.
Just time fly when you're having fun.
Come on, then.
Got any more, Nick? You got any more questions?
Well, yeah, we'll come back to one a bit later.
Okay.
Let's get this team.
Okay,
Just quickly, Paul. Brenda Brown says, "Can you please send a kiss to Michael Johnson for me?" Okay, there you go.
Brenda, absolutely. I know Brenda really well. Always see her in the cup there in the stadium. So really nice to see you and hope you're doing well, Brenda. God bless you.
Great, isn't she, Brenda?
Cheers. Come on then.
So 1 to 11 from the players you played with for us over all that time.
Right, let me just say this first for any lads that are watching. I love you guys, you know that.
Oh, a disclaimer.
JG in the house, looking like a mouse. You know, being tight, JG. Anyway, so here we go. Eyes down. Number 1, Ian Bennett.
Yep.
At fullback. And by the way, I've gone 4-3-3, by the way. So not 4-4-2, 4-3-3.
Anyone make you think in goal other than Benno? Did anyone compete with him at all? Or was it
Mike Taylor? Mike Taylor did. I was thinking about Mike Taylor.
Yeah.
And I was kind of thinking, Benno for me stood out.
Yeah. No problem. Right back?
Tebley.
Yeah.
Gilly was pushing it. Chunky was Nicky Eden. Gary Paul was pushing it, but Tebley.
Yeah. Centre halves? Steve Bruce?
Steve Bruce, without a shadow of a doubt. Come from Man United, could play. You know, he was a good centre back.
Yeah, very good. And then Liam Daesh next to him?
Daesh, I thought Gary Ablett, because Gary Ablett had a great left foot. God bless him.
Yeah, very good, yeah.
More. But I love Daesh. I love Daesh's aggressiveness. I love Daesh as a captain and as a man. So for me, Daesh had to go in there.
Yeah. Jono told us his team before the show, by the way, in case people are thinking I'm psychic. Left back?
Left back. There's only one.
Brain. Yeah.
Martin Granger.
Yeah.
You know, brave, could head, could take free kicks, loved to tackle, and good passer with the ball as well. Really good fullback. Should have gone on to play higher, in my opinion. Yeah,
I agree. And then the 3 in the middle?
Got to have, and this is a real surprise one. Trevor Francis said, quote, this is his greatest signing at Birmingham City, Martin O'Connor.
Yeah.
It was, what a player.
Yeah.
He's one of those players that is a player's dream because he did so much at the ugly side of the game.
Yeah.
A good player and a good captain.
Yeah. And without players like that in the team, the likes of, Stan and John McCarthy and Brian Hughes can't get forward as much, can they?
No, you need players like that because everybody will look at, the guys that paint pretty pictures and deliver the balls and go past 2 and 3. But you need those players who fill in, those players that make last-minute ditch blocks, those players that stop the transition of the team going towards your goal. So, a Martin O'Connor, the organiser, a real team player, good captain.
Yeah, we've never had anyone on here that played with him that hasn't put him in their team.
He's honest, and that speaks volumes. That will tell you about it. And for Trevor Francis to say that, by the way, that was his greatest signing. It tells you something. Yeah,
absolutely. And then the other 2 with him, a bit further forward in the midfield.
Bit further forward, Jonathan Hunt. Bags of ability. Jonathan with underneath Barry Fry. And I tried to go across the 3 eras of Barry Fry, Stevie Bruce and Trevor Francis. I tried to go across the 3 eras. So Jonathan Hunt, for me, had so much ability. Left foot, right foot, and again, great passer with the ball.
Yeah. And then next to him?
Little different, Brian Hughes. I remember Wrexham played Birmingham before Hughes signed, and he gave us problems that day.
Yeah, he scored.
When he scored. Yeah, I remember the goal. I remember it very well.
And I do, yeah.
And then he comes to Birmingham, and you could see why we paid so much money for him. Great ability on the ball. He was more of a dribbler, great finisher, and also really good in the air for somebody so small. Not so small. He was about 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah.
And then your front 3?
Front 3 on my right hand side goes without saying. Paul
John McCarthy.
Yeah. If I'd have said John McCarthy, Dev would have been on the phone now. But Dev was an amazing player, really, really good player. He was like a little irritant. He was like one of those kind of things that you wind up and you just let him go.
Please.
Yeah. Great to have in your team. Great honesty. Good crosser of the ball. And could finish as well. Scored a good number of goals and also managed to play for Scotland as well at the time. A good player.
Yeah, cracking player. And then
wide left.
Yeah.
One and only Stan Lazaridis.
Yeah.
He could cross from anywhere on that left-hand side. You just give him the ball and just get in the box.
Yeah.
He wasn't complicated. He knew what he was good at. Give him the ball, and he used to say, I'll get the ball in the box. You just make sure you're in there. So Stan Lazaridis.
Yeah. And then through the middle?
Through the middle, it was going to be Jeff Horsfield, but sorry, Jeff, I've got to go off. Basically, for what we've already mentioned with him, the man was a baller. He was a great player.
Yeah.
You give him the ball, there's not much he couldn't do. I always remember, and when we played the game against Arsenal at home, I remember walking down the tunnel, and obviously Arsenal, they had their own French contingency.
Yeah.
There was Patrick Vieira was in there. There was obviously Thierry Henry was in there. What's the blondie? Emmanuel Petit was in there. There was quite a few of them. And I always saying to the English players, make sure you watch him. The likes of Ashley Cole, and Will Todd was in there as well. They were saying Ashley Cole, and I forgot who it might have been.
Robert Pires. Robert Pires
was in there. They were saying to the English players, make sure you watch him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the 11.
That's
and
a great
on the bench, there was people like Gilly, because Gilly was on the bench as well. Is he still there? If he's there, that's why I'm putting him on. He's still there. It was a tight one. It was a toss-up. Flick of a coin, Gilly.
Someone's asking John if Jose Dominguez was there when you was there, or did he move on before you signed?
No, Jose moved on just before I came, so I didn't see. So when I came to Birmingham, you had the likes of, there was Ricky Otto, Louis Donoghue were your wide players.
Yeah.
My sister Pat has acknowledged the fact that you spoke to her earlier by sending you lots of red love art. So I don't know why, but she's also put a complaint in that Brenda got a kiss and she didn't.
But here we go. Keep well.
Brilliant. Okay, so the FA today have announced then that the Premier League will finish. And relegation and promotion will go ahead as planned. The FA have had to stand in and tell the Premier League that that's what's going to happen. And so the season's going to finish, And it's an unprecedented move, apparently. The FA still have got jurisdiction over relegation and promotion.
Yeah.
And so it's going to happen.
It's an interesting one, that, isn't it? And I think first and foremost, I think all football lovers, the first point of call has got to be the safety of everybody.
Absolutely.
I think as long as, and that has to be paramount. The finance, everything else needs to be put aside here. We need to make sure the players and all the stakeholders involved with the match day activities are safe. But obviously, we all want to find some conclusion to the season. Yeah. Particularly me, who's obviously a Liverpool fan, wants to see some kind of conclusion of the season. But you want it to be done in the right and proper way. The question is how are they going to make sure that the players are safe and everybody involved is safe? Because it'd be great, even if we're at home, if we have access to certain games. I'm sure you would love to watch Blues TV games, showcasing Blues games, but the point is that the games have to be in a real governed and safe environment. How they do that, I don't know.
Well, I think we've got a little while to go before any of that comes to fruition. Anything happening, certainly. Well, we work in the pub industry, so we certainly won't be going back till the 4th of July minimum. But speaking to others who work in the same industry as well, I think it will probably be around September minimum.
Really?
Yeah. And then there'll be measures brought into place where, you can only allow so many people in and one thing and all that. So there's a lot of things to muddle through at the minute. But what we do have to be grateful for is all our key workers and care workers and health staff. And we have to thank them.
They're amazing.
And we go out there every Thursday and we make a little bit of noise. I know some people criticise it, but I think that, if I've just come up a horrible shift, and I hear that in the street, then you know what, my shoulders just grow 4 inches wider.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been amazing, and they need applauding up and down the country. They've kept the country going, and they've kept. I've seen some.
It's not just like Binman, the postman. All of these people, because without it, when we would literally have ground to a complete and utter standstill.
Yeah, no, agreed. Great point.
Definitely.
Okay. Now, if we'd have had VAR back in the day when the Worthington Cup final was on, we'd have certainly had a penalty. What's your views on VAR in the game now?
Absolute stonewaller. I mean, I spoke with Stefan Anchas. I was on a pro license course. Didn't know him, and obviously managed to get to know him on the course. And I asked him the question: Stonewall penalty. Still can't believe it wasn't given. So it still burns you when you watch the game, because you could have been sitting at City being a League Cup winner. Birmingham City won the League Cup twice in X amount of years. So it does hurt, but you gotta get on with it, haven't you?
But I'm specifically talking about VAR in the game now. What's your views on that?
I would have been a stonewall in VAR. They would have broken that down to pieces. I don't even think you would have needed VAR, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I wasn't specifically talking about that one situation. I was thinking like the game as a whole now. What's your views on the game as a whole with VAR and how it's worked out the first season?
I think it's good that we want to get to the right decision. I still think there's lots of work to be done with VAR. It's not right. It's not allowing the game to be free flowing. It's spoiling the enjoyment of the fans. As a player as well, it's off-putting. So it's still in its infancy. The interesting thing is, why, if it's in its infancy, do you roll it out on the biggest stage in world football?
That was going to be my next question. Yeah.
There may have been a better stage for you to get all these teasing points out before you put it on the biggest stage in the world.
Would you have thought Championship or League One?
I'd have probably started it at League One, League Two. So therefore, once you move into the Championship and Premier League, League One and League Two have already got the infrastructure and the finances because they've already had it. So you're investing in League One and League Two, but then what you're really doing is really sampling it to make sure that it's fit and ready to go for the Premier League. And that's no disrespect to League One and League Two.
No, not at all. I get that. But when it is a Premier League game, there's a bad VAR decision. It's worldwide.
Yeah. And that's the point. It's damaging the brand. It's damaging the game. It's also, I've listened to some of I forgot, was it the Liverpool, who was it? There was one player what came out, Wolverhampton Wanderers player, midfielder Cody, and absolutely ripped it to bits. That's not good for the brand at all.
No. Any more questions from listeners, Paul?
Can I just give this? There's a couple of quick ones here. I've been told this one twice. Remind Jono about something he was going to do with the hat.
Yes. Bing, bing. So what I want to do, because my big mate, Dev, has got his daughter's been really poorly over the last years. She's suffered with Addison's disease, which is a real bad disease. That any time she could get an attack. It's really worrying, because as a parent, you don't want to be far from your daughter in case something was to happen. So it's constantly on his mind, and I know his wife Sally as well. And for a family, it's heartbreaking. So I was thinking, what could I do to try and help? And one thing I have got is something that, as you said, it's folklore history. It's there, and I want to try and get the hat to Birmingham for some kind of auction, so that whoever bids the highest as the hat, I'll sign it. It be authentic, but all proceeds that are raised will go to poor Devlin and his daughter for Addison's disease.
Oh, the bids will be coming in a bit. they'll be starting to bid on that now, Jono.
Jono, that's awesome, mate. That is.
I want it. I want it.
So I'm not sure how to get something.
What about a huge raffle, Jono?
Sorry?
What about a huge raffle?
I'm not sure how to do it, and I'm just putting it out there. That's what I want to do, but I have no idea.
We've got a stalwart on charities, Auntie Linda. Auntie Linda, get something sorted. Talk to Jono. We'll get you in touch with each other. And she appeared on here 3 or 4 weeks ago. 50. I think she was about 86 or something like that.
She's 87, I think.
87. Yeah. And let her 9-year-old grandson shave his head for our PTSD charity we've got running.
Wonderful.
Paul Sterndale. Sorry, Nick. Paul Sterndale said he'll start the bidding at £100.
Oh, there you go.
So we're off and running. We've got 100 quid for the hat.
Yeah, already. Yeah. Okay.
Oh no, it's coming at 120.
Oh my life.
There we go.
I'm going 150.
There we go. That's what I like to see.
Go on then.
Let's get this money raised for Dev's daughter.
Come on then, Linda, you'll have to sort this one out. Craig says, can we give a shout out for the NHS game as Jono is playing, apparently?
Big shout out to the NHS. I'll be turning up. I'm not sure the date, but I've been asked to turn up for one of the games, obviously to raise the awareness of what they're doing, to hopefully bring some funds in. So, yes, you know, obviously massive products for the NHS in amongst difficult times.
Oh, definitely.
Incredible. Well, there you go. There's an hour gone. Believe it or not.
Where's that gone?
That's crazy.
No.
And just want to reiterate the thoughts and prayers for Tony Steele, a.k.a. Spoof, who's in hospital very poorly. And if you've got anybody else that needs a mention on the Tilton Talk Show for others to think about them, then please get in touch with us during the course of the week, and we're only too glad to do so. Mrs. Brown. What can I say? Where's that hour gone? We didn't even do the last 10 minutes, did we?
No.
It sailed away, didn't it? Flew.
Yeah. Again, thanks for Chris Brown for hosting this in the studio down there in Solihull.
Solihull, the posh part.
Posh part of the world.
Oh.
As he gets at the back to have a wee in the sink. Thank you, Paul Hipkiss, once again for your time and energy, your memory.
I've got to ask Jono this, though. Who was the best? Jono, who was the best and worst dresser in all your time at Blues?
Oh, God.
The worst dresser. Sorry, the worst dresser would have been Benno. He couldn't put anything together. The best dresser would have been Paul Furlong.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Paul Furlong had a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. That London swag.
Can I just say, John, that you were nominated for worst dresser by quite a few of the guests.
You know what it is? Sometimes when you put yourself out there, you're there to be shot at. That's all I'm going to say.
There we go.
Michael Johnson, legend of the club, iconic hat is going to go up and up and up. It really is. It really is. I promise you. Because there's a lot out here. They go crazy for this kind of stuff. I mean, for me, I'd just like to see it. This is going to be an help for me. You know what I mean?
I want to touch
Brilliant.
it. I want to touch it.
Well, excuse me. Yes, Paul, what were you going to say before I?
No, I was just going to say thank you and good night to everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Michael Johnson. Thanks for Chris Brown. Thanks, Paul Hipkiss, and for myself, and for all you people out there. Please stay safe. It's a big message. We want to get football back as soon as we possibly can. We want to get the crowds back. We want to turn up and do what we do on a Saturday afternoon or a Tuesday night or whenever. So.
Days are great, but there's nothing quite like playing at home. The same goes for McDonald's. Maximise your home ground advantage with McDelivery. Order now on the McDonald's app. At participating restaurants, 18 plus serving times, delivery fee and terms apply. See mcdonalds.com.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.